of 2023. My name is David Solomon. He is Stuart Brisgell. We want to welcome you to the Rant Network. We're hosting this crazy podcast where we bring you unfiltered, uncensored conversations about everything. Like an extraordinary wide range of topics. The podcast is dedicated to giving you folks the platform to express your opinion, share your thoughts, experiences, ideas from a variety of perspectives, and honest, truly honest opinions. This podcast is unedited. We run it as is, right off the cuff. So the honesty comes through sometimes really, really harsh. Join us as we dive into the latest news, pop culture, politics, and so much more. From rants about the absurdity of modern life to discussions about the deeper issues affecting our society, we promise you the Rant Network's got you covered. Sit back, relax, and join us on this journey of discovery and exploration. Time to join the Rant Network. So, ladies and gentlemen, one of the things that amazes me has been the evolution of the media. Once upon a time, the media, and we've talked about this ad nauseum, go back to many rants. And Stuart brings up Walter Cronkite, and I've talked about other media guys. They have completely and utterly shed their clothing. All right? They're wolves now in sheep's clothing. It's so obvious. Their interest right now is to eat the viewers, the listeners, the readers alive with all this propaganda. And you're thinking, oh, here we go again. You're making this crap up, guys. Really, no. Because what the media has discovered was like the woke movement, like cancel culture, and once you label someone, you destroy them. You get what you need by destroying that person. We've seen this with Roseanne Barr. We've seen that with politicians. We've seen it with business people. We've seen it with professors. The moment you paint that person with an accusation, the left somehow finds a way for it to stick. MSNBC and other media outlets have decided that they need to do what they did to Donald Trump since 2016. They now need to do to, drumroll please, Ron DeSantis. Stuart, you live in the great state of Florida. You've seen Governor DeSantis in action. Does MSNBC have a case in labeling him potentially the next Hitler?
Well, okay, let's talk about Rock DeSantis, because Donald Trump's got a nickname for everyone in politics, and it definitely isn't Rock DeSantis. But that's the one that I'm giving him, because you got to really know who this governor is. Because you're right, MSNBC, CBS, NBC, they're not going to tell you. This is an American politician that's serving as the 46th governor in Florida. He's a member of the Republican Party, go figure. And he represents the 6th congressional district of the House of Representatives from 23 to 2018, right? So he served in the House. He's serving as governor. Before his political career, he served as a U.S. naval officer and a legal judge advocate general, aka JAG. He worked as a federal prosecutor, practicing law as a U.S. attorney for the Middle District of Florida. Most people are familiar with Ron DeSantis for something that's turned as a cliche. Don't say gay bill, calling him a anti-Judaism guy, a racist. They've got to label Ron DeSantis because as a 40-year-old guy, Ron DeSantis seems to be the only guy who's giving the Democrats a run for the money. And I'll tell you why. He's young, energetic, and something that you may not understand. He is a good candidate. He's got education. He's got experience in both the House and in governance, but he has no Pandora's box. They can't find a scathing widow. They can't find a scathing girlfriend. Just as early as today, you have the woman that accused Biden in 93 for sexually assaulting her, which didn't get any legs in the media. She now is taking citizenship in Russia because she's in fear of her life. But you don't really get to hear about why Ron DeSantis is a good president. Well, during the COVID era, everyone moved. Well, I can't say everyone. I would say a ton of people moved from New York, Illinois, California to the great state of Florida because here was the land of the free. We stole it from Texas. But Texas is also now being overrun, and the Democrats are doing it intentionally to try and destroy Texas. It's really what it's all about. Ron DeSantis stood up for the state of Texas by sending our troops over there to help aid in this border. And again, the left needs to villainize Ron DeSantis. Now, one of their ideas is maybe because Ron DeSantis is like a Teflon Don, we need to get rid of him and get Trump to be the nominee because we can just shit all over Trump. Where Ron DeSantis, they don't have it. As he tried to increase taxes, well, you know what, guys? Inflation is a tax. Flat tax is a tax. A tax on the middle class is a tax. So the Democrats raise taxes, but claim that, no, we don't raise taxes. Biden's voted for it every time, believe it or not. Now, the next thing is he wanted to raise taxes now in the debt ceiling talk, Biden. Ron DeSantis actually doesn't like the debt ceiling deal. I don't think anyone does. Because anyone that likes everyone is someone that doesn't have an affiliation. And the United States is a system that has affiliations. You're leaning left, you're leaning right, or you're in the center. The left can't stand that. You're an enemy of the state if you don't agree with me. That's the problem that the media has with Ron DeSantis. The guy seems to come across as a jabber, a punchbacker, and is unafraid of corporate America. You know, everyone's saying Disney, he's attacking the largest employer in the state of Florida. I'm sorry. If the largest employer in the state of Florida is operating unfairly to NBC Universal, SeaWorld, and the like, Six Flags, why should Disney be given special privileges? Again, is it a war on Disney or is it a war representing the people, which is NBC Universal, Comcast, and SeaWorld, and others? So rules for me and not for thee is the theme of the DNC. If you have a religion, you're the enemy of the state. This is a clear message. And DeSantis has everything that they hate. So they have to call him Hitler. They have to call him anti-gay. They need to call, the Don't Say Gay bill that had absolutely zero to do with people that are gay.
You know what, Stuart? What's fascinating to me, and MSNBC, which makes these remarks that, it's just absolutely fascinating when they say that DeSantis is even more dangerous than Trump. Like, on what premise? If everyone is if the second coming of Hitler or the fill in the blank dictator from yesteryear, there's no one on the Republican side. You're catering. First of all, MSNBC loves people from the left, and this is their mantra. This is their thing. This is what they love to spew. And when you say, you're going to go after a person without talking about their record, and I think this is the problem which we have. What's their record? What did they stand for? When we talked about this, we ranted about this, that the AP course, the Black History AP course that he rejected, was about, brainwashing and putting in information into the course that was completely false. It would have created a false narrative. It would have skewed Black history. And he was called a racist. And when you see other things that go on, that said, there was an article that was posted on one of these fringe media publications that gays are leaving Florida in groves. Where are your statistics? Where is this coming from? When Florida they're desperate for more homes because of the migration into Florida. And don't tell me it's just white males who are moving into Florida. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. But to me, the disgusting thing is when you give a platform, a public platform, like MSNBC, to people who just will spew hate. And we've seen how hate is destructive. We ranted about this on Monday about a student who gave a commencement speech at City University of New York, how she caused hate. And the media perpetuates this hate. And this is what you've done. You've brainwashed generations of people to believe that the right, conservatism, is the most egregious, the most disgusting, the most dangerous, and it's far from the truth. The push, the desire to influence a media this election, and I have to tell you, is worse than what they accuse Russia of doing. You know, they accuse Russia of influencing an election. What do you call this? When you, without any fact, without any substance, just I think that. You know, the NAACP put out a travel ban. They must be right. Did anybody vet it? No, because the left just went with it. People on The View, when you've got people on The View calling Ron DeSantis, a hater, when you've got people who call Tim Scott, Tim Scott, an African-American who just declared himself last week to run for president, and he is being accused as being, a white, supremacist, him and Clarence Thomas. It's like when you hear the media throw this out again and again, you lose credibility.
No, you don't.
And
no, you don't, because they're so brainwashed. They're so brainwashed. Again, everyone says, "Oh, we're right-wing podcast." We're not. I just want common sense. How do you call a black man? How do you call a black man who's a son of a slave?
But to you, no, you see, you and I can have a discourse. We can have a conversation. We can agree, disagree, call it whatever you want. And people say, "Oh, guys, you are right-wing, you are conservative." And yes, our inclination. And if you listen to how we talk, economically we are conservative. Socially, we tend to be more liberal.
Yeah.
Okay, you can accuse us of whatever you want, but the reality is the second you say you put a label on us, and you put a label on a Ron DeSantis or a Trump or a Tim Scott or soon to be Chris Christie, because he's also going to declare, or Nikki Haley, like everybody on the right. Think about it, what MSNBC has done. Everyone who's declared, from Vivek Ramaswamy, I probably pronounce his name wrong, to now Ron DeSantis, everyone who declares for the Republicans has a label. But Joe Biden is a god. Kamala Harris cannot be touched. Don't you dare talk about these two, because they're the greatest. And please go look on the top 10 greatest things that the Biden-Harris administration has ever done. But anybody on the right who declares now for president, or even Kevin McCarthy, he was ripped apart about the debt ceiling, that he is going to destroy America. These terms have no substance. And Stuart, that's where MSNBC is discredited. Okay? There are a lot of people who believe this crap, but they are so, it's so ugly now. It's so obvious. And I'm telling you that if anybody did a collusion investigation on this, they would find the guilty party here, not in Russia.
David, that kind of wrapping our quarter hour. David, there's not much more to add. I'm silent because you know what? Listen, right now, it's a year away. It's good.
Stuart, hold on. Stuart, do you know Trey Riddell? He's apparently a former Republican congressman who now works on radio in Florida. And he said that if Mother Teresa would have run under the GOP banner, she'd be roasted as well. Just to give you an idea. So I think that's the comments that are coming out. All right, ladies and gentlemen, look, we've done it. We've reached our quarter hour, and we promise you to have these rants in under 15 minutes. That's it for today. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening to us lunatics here at the Rant Network. We hope you enjoyed this conversation and gained some valuable insights. Take the time, please go back to some past episodes, some previous podcasts. Get a feel, if this is your first time here, of what we rant about. We're all over the place. We're not just in politics. We're all over the place. So we appreciate that support and hope you'll join us next time, Friday, noon Eastern, because we're here Monday, Wednesday, Friday, noon Eastern, regardless of what's in our schedule. In the meantime, don't forget to follow us on social media. Share your thoughts with us. Remember, we're always interested in hearing from you, our viewers, and our listeners about the topics that matter most to you. Thanks again for listening. And until next time,